It was never, ever a game. And it just goes to show that similar to what, the Nuggets always do, similar to, Boston has games like this. There are games that certain teams care about more than others. And once you sort of fall into that routine, you could almost tell what's going to happen. Are the Knicks going to play very hard today? I'd hope so. But the Pacers are a different beast. I could see the Pacers closing them out in 4 or 5 games.
Easy.
But with the Thunder series, that game last night was the Thunder kind of knew that Minnesota was going to come out and punch them in the mouth. And because of that, the game wasn't interesting. And the game wasn't good. It almost acts at a detriment when these teams care more about certain games more than others, right? It's like that Nuggets series against the Thunder was a prime example of this. The Nuggets come out and steal game 1. They already won one of the 2 on the road. That's the goal of any road team in the postseason. In game 2, they lose by about 45 points because they didn't, they got their rest. Jokic didn't even play the fourth quarter. It's one of those games. And then you go back and forth, and then it's all about splitting again. And then you keep going. To me, and the Nuggets won that game 3, and then game 4 was a grinded out game. It's just, it shouldn't be like this, but it almost is, Kate.
I am almost to the point where I'm getting as frustrated with NBA teams slacking off of 1 or 2 of their games in their postseason series as I am NFL teams tanking at the end of the regular season for better draft picks. I know I'm in the minority in this conversation, but I hate when teams purposely let off the gas pedal for any reason. You're a winner. Go out and win.
It's like they don't want to give out, because a lot of this is about rest at this point in the season. You're in game 100, but it sounds like, hey, like, we don't need game 3. If you're the Thunder up 2-0, we don't need game 3. Is it better off that we give our all, try to win, go up 3-0 and close this out earlier? Or, hey, we don't need to get everybody, beaten up, broken down a little bit. It's one of those games where it's over at halftime. And we could sort of...
If it's over at halftime, but why didn't you come out swinging? Why didn't you... This team for the Thunder, to me in the first 3 games, has looked by far better than the Timberwolves.
Top to bottom. Top to bottom better.
Why not take advantage of that? Why not go and sweep this team and then rest after that and get ready for what's going to be probably a ridiculously good NBA Finals? Because I think whoever the Thunder play, whether it's the Pacers or the Knicks, it's going to be a battle because both of those other teams know how to play defense ridiculously well. Not as good as the Timberwolves, although they showed it out last night. But I also think Shea was basically just not wanting to do anything.
Yeah, 14
But if
points.
you're the Thunder, why not go make a statement? Why not go actually beat up on a team that you know you're better than? They literally, purposefully, from the beginning of the game, wanted to play slower. And then afterwards, they were like, yeah, no duh that the Timberwolves came out.
Again, hope they play hard.
Right? Like, this is...
Well, we have some audio.
Yeah, let's go to Shea.
This is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander after game 3 last night, who had a 14-point game. He was terrible. And the Thunder rolled over and died before, they even had a chance to punch back. And this is what he had to say post-game about, the T-Wolves playing very, very hard in game 3.
Just didn't bring it from an energy and focus standpoint. We, to sum it up, we just didn't have it. They obviously had it with the sense of urgency, knowing like if they go down 3-0, it's going to be pretty tough. And we just, what it felt like, just eased into the game, and they didn't, and they blitzed us pretty early, and then we were never able to get back because of it. But they just came out with a sense of urgency, and we didn't. And on top of that, when you play a really good team, it looks like that. So we got to come out with a sense of urgency, and then see where the game lays.
No duh, Shea. What in the world was that? Like, yeah, when we don't play hard, we lose. Your youth basketball league knew that, Colin.
He said the key word I heard him say there was sense of urgency. And there's a heightened sense of urgency. Yes, obviously, you don't want to fall down 3-0. But one thing I give the Indiana Pacers a lot of credit in is they don't necessarily see it like this. The Indiana Pacers were the road team against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They steal game 1, or they beat them in game 1. And then in game 2 was the game that they could have rolled over and died and just, punted till game 3 when they're in their building. And they did the same thing in game 2 against the Knicks on Friday night. They could have punted. We flipped home court. That's all we came to do. But to the Pacers' credit, they came at them again in game 2 against the Knicks. And the Cavs series was the game 2 where they came back from down 8 with a minute to go to win the game with Tyrese Halliburton on the game-winning 3. To their credit, they have a constant sense of urgency. And that's why Carlisle, I think, is a great coach. That is, to me, a little bit more representative of a champion. But, and
if you're worried about tonight's game in Indiana, when they're already up 2-0, about them rolling over and wanting to take a break, don't get it twisted.
The Knicks might beat them, but the Pacers are going to play hard.
Oh, the Pacers are going to play hard. Because when you look at that Cavs series, the Cavs came out and beat the Pacers in game 3. I don't think the Pacers were necessarily rolling over and letting them have it, but they definitely relaxed and put their foot off the gas pedal a little bit.
Right.
This is Halliburton. We'll go to another piece of audio right here. This is Halliburton Saturday night after game 2, taking both games in the Garden. He's talking with the crew at TNT, and they ask him, hey, this has already happened to you guys once. Is this conversation going around on what this game 3 is going to be like? This is Halliburton's response.
Yeah, I think that's the main conversation right now. I think you come in here, you steal 2, which is a great thing. But you can't relax when you get home. And I feel like last series we did that. So I thought we had a great conversation there after the game about it. We got to lock in and take care of game 3.
This is the conference finals. We're talking about the 2 best teams in the NBA Eastern Conference. Why would you want to let off the gas pedal?
And to his credit, he mentioned the Cavs series where they got blown out, where they lost by like 20 in game 3 in their building.
Yes.
And then you thought that this series was going to flip, including Mike Rizzo, who's a big Cav fan. And then all of a sudden they closed them out in game 4. So they learned from this, and this is going to be a recurring theme now. Yeah.
But why would the Thunder want... The Thunder literally saw what happened to the Pacers. Now, granted, the Pacers went on to win the next 2. But why would you want to let a team who we know is very, very good...
Just get momentum. Well, yeah, why give them momentum?
Yeah. Why would you want them to have, especially in their own building? Like the Pacers led off of game 3 in their own building, and they were able to come back in game 4. You're about to go into game 4 if you're the Thunder in Minnesota, which, by the way, ever since Anthony Edwards got there, that fan base has turned around significantly in that home building. It gets loud in there nowadays.
Minnesota's got good fans. Good fans.
They do. So why on earth would you let yourselves get beat by over 30 points just to come around in game 4 and have to go back to the Thunder, go back to Oklahoma City, trying to go up 3-1, but now it's going to be harder than ever.
See, the goal, what you're alluding to is if you're the OKC Thunder, you want to avoid having pressure in a game for the entire series. You want to avoid being pressured to win a game. Now, all of a sudden, game 4 is important. And you have to win game 4.